Hello, good day and welcome. My name is Adebo and I'll be taking you physics today. Today we'll be talking about measurement of time. We've in our previous classes we've dealt with measurement for a long time now, and we picked each of the instruments or devices or quantities because I said different quantities, various quantities have suitable measuring instruments that are inclined to them. Measuring instruments that can be used to measure and determine their dimensions. Now, time. I know some people might be surprised. It's time quantity. Yes, time is a physical quantity. It is one of the three fundamental quantities, three basic fundamental quantities: length, time, and mass. Now, like I said, mass is a fundamental quantity, and like every other quantity, it has to be measured. This particular class was scheduled for 12 p.m. Now that's time. If you don't know the time, you wouldn't know when to join. Now, time is it's one of the most basic, it's one of the most important quantities we have in nature. It helps us know when to do things. It helps us. It kind of directs each of our steps to the point that we know when to go to a place, we know when it's morning, we know when it's night, and the whole activities of man is directed by time. That's why we wake up in the daytime, we sleep at night, we work at day, sleep at night. Now that timing, the time is taken away, you agree with me that our activities will be shabby in the sense that we always check time. If I started this class, I had to make sure it was 12. And I'll end the class 30 minutes after this time because the class is scheduled for 30 minutes. And once it's 30 minutes, I'll have to log off. Now, the basis of these lectures will be based on time. The things I say will be based on time. It will be made to fit into that particular time. You celebrate your birthday periodically, annually, every year, and that's timing. It gives meaning. Now, these are timing. Your age, how old are you, is due to the time you've spent on earth. Now, if time cannot be measured, then the age of a man will not be determined. In those days, in the olden days, they didn't pay critical attention to stuffs like time, the birthday, the birth date, and the rest. And then you agree with me that the exact birth date or the exact date of birth of some of these notable icons are being estimated. Like the exact dates are not known. But if time is taken into consideration critically, you notice that what you'll be able to ascertain these things. So today we'll be talking about time, and like I said, it's a very, very, very interesting topic. Hope you enjoy it. Now, time, measurement of time. We define time. We define time as that in which events are distinguishable with reference to before and after. Now that was what I was trying to explain in the introduction. Time refers to what? That quantity in which events are distinguishable. Events are distinguishable. I can start by 3, I can end by 4, and that's distinguishing the events. Now in schools, you have timetable. They tell you that you have lectures by 5, you have lectures by 6. Now, you have chemistry lectures by 5, you have biology lectures by 6. Now, by the timing, we've been able to distinguish the lectures. We know that 6 p.m., sorry, is for chemistry and 5 p.m. is for biology. Now, that's time for you. That quantity in which events are distinguishable. I wake up by 6 o'clock, I come to work by 8. Now, that's waking up. I know it's by waking up is an event, coming to work is an event. I take my breakfast by 11 a.m. Now that's an event. So time helps you to arrange or organize the events that you carry out each day. Now the most natural time unit is the solar day, which is manifested by the passing of day and night. Yes, the solar day. It is your mere human instinct to tell you that when you see the sun, it is daytime. Often most people misinterpret time too, because there are times where the sun will be out but then it's no longer afternoon. There are times where the sun won't be out and then it is no longer morning, but at least it's one of the most common or the most natural time units. the most natural time unit. Even the human body is adapted to this time unit. When it's dark, scientifically it has been realized that when it's dark, there are hormones that trigger sleep when the place is dark. So you see, even your human body is adapted to this nature of time. It is estimated that when there is sun, when there is light, it is day. Now this time helps us to organize our days, our activities. Sorry, there's some people that walk outside, and then when they see the sun going down, they know they have to hasten up and indulge in their activities faster. Now also, it takes the Earth one solar day to complete one revolution about its axis. It takes the Earth one solar day to complete one revolution about its axis. Now, revolution about its axis is kind of this kind of revolution. It revolves around its axis like this. So it takes a day. Now, this revolution of the sun around its axis gives day and night. And that's why you see there's a rising of the sun and then there's a going down of the sun. Now, for astronomical purposes, a different time scale known as sidereal time is used. And for astronomical purposes, a different time scale known as sidereal time is used. Now that's for astronauts. Now this is the time interval between two successive passages of the star over the meridian. Now this is also another natural way of measuring time. It says for astronomical purposes, a different time scale known as sidereal time is used. And like I said, this is the time interval between two successive passages of the star over the meridian. Now, at the present period, the essential mechanisms of the devices used for marking the passage of time are masses, so mounted or suspended that when set in motion under the influence of forces. Now, these are masses, devices of time. They are masses that are mounted or suspended so that when set in motion under the influence of forces, these are natural forces. Now, when they are set in motion, we can be able to ascertain the time. Now, like I said, when when set in motion under the influence of forces, what happens? They repeat with great regularity fixed cycles of their motion. Now, what it means is the regularity with which it repeats helps us to estimate the time. Regularity in this sense. For instance, it will be estimated how the positions of these particular masses during the day and during the night. Now, if it's a regular, if the movements are regular or predefined, then you can actually use it to estimate time because the differences are constant. And the pendulum of a clock and the balance wheel of a watch are two of such mechanisms. Yes, the pendulum of a clock. You notice that the pendulum of a clock, it moves always, repeatedly. Now, this repeated movement helps to keep the clock in motion. Now, this regularity helps us to measure the time. And the balance wheel of a watch, a wristwatch, also a watch, not just a wristwatch, also has a balance wheel, which helps us to measure time. Now, hence nowadays, we measure and indicate time with clocks. In the laboratory, time is measured with a stopwatch. Now, 90% of us have clocks in our houses. If you don't have in your house, at least you have a wristwatch or so. Now, mostly nowadays, times are measured with clocks. Now, in the laboratory, time is measured with a stop clock or stopwatch. In the lab, a stop clock or a stopwatch is used so we could estimate the timing. Stop clock. You know what a stop clock is? You start it and it begins to tick, and then the time is being measured. But then a clock measures time regularly from day to night, constantly until the battery runs off. But a stopwatch is kind of a watch that you use to measure the time interval of your activities. You start the stop clock before you start, and then when you end, you start it. So it is used to estimate the time interval. Now, The stop clock or stopwatch can be started or stopped with the use of a knob, and there's what we call a knob. And that knob, I told you, you start it and you end it. And that knob is what is pressed or pushed to begin or end. And the stopwatch enables us to measure time intervals of sorry, it enables us to measure time intervals, very small time intervals with great accuracy. Now, some watches can measure time to 0.1 second. We know that the unit of measuring time is 1 second, but some watches can measure time down to 0.1 second. So hence they are very accurate. The unit of time is the second with its multiple units as. Now we all know that 60 seconds make a minute, 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours makes a day, and that's the complete revolution of the earth around its axis. Now these are questions that might be asked in WIEC. In case you are being asked what brings about day and night, you should know that the complete resolution or revolution of the earth around its axis brings about day and night, and that's equal to a solar day, one solar day. Now the most accurate clock of all are the quartz crystal clock and the atomic clock. This is another probable question. You might be asked which of the following clocks is the most accurate clock of all. Now you should take note that a quartz crystal clock and the atomic clock are amongst the most accurate clocks. So we need to take note. Now, this is our assignment for today. Which of the following is a scalar quantity? You know, we talked about scalar quantities in the beginning of these classes. Now you tell me which of the following is a scalar quantity. So A says momentum, B acceleration, C displacement, D distance, E force. Now, this question was coined from WIEC, physics question 1992. The second question you answer for me, you tell me if time is a scalar or a vector quantity. You not just tell me, you support your questions, your answers, sorry, with explanations. You explain, you give reasons, you tell me why. So like today we talked about the measurement of time, and I told you what time is. I said time can be defined as that in which events are distinguishable with reference to before and after. It is a quantity with which we can distinguish event, sorry, with reference to before and after. I did this before, I did this after. So time helps us to arrange our activities. You can't schedule without time. And the most natural time unit is the solar day, which is manifested by the passing of day and night. I told you that one revolution of the earth, one complete revolution of the earth makes a day. Now we say for astronomical purpose a different time scale known as sidereal time. Sidereal time. Please take note of all these points because these are where questions are being drafted from. Sidereal time is used. Now, this is the time interval between two successive passages of the star over the meridian. In case you are asked what the sidereal time is, I said it's what? It's, let me italize it so. Now, this is the time interval between two successive passages of the star over the meridian. Now, at the present period, the essential mechanisms of the devices used for marking the passage of time are masses so mounted on suspended that when set in motion under the influence of forces, they repeat with great regularity fixed circles of their motions. Now, this regularity, this fixed circle is what is used to measure time. And I said the pendulum clock and the balance wheel of a watch are such mechanisms. Now I said nowadays we measure time or we indicate time with clocks in our homes and in public places, and then in the laboratory we use the stop clock or stopwatch. In case you are asked, time is measured with a stop clock or stopwatch in the laboratory, not a clock, a stop clock or a stopwatch. So the stop clock or stopwatch can be started or stopped using its knob. I told you the knob is used to start and stop. I will always repeat, please take note of these salient points. These are where questions are being drafted from. Now the stopwatch enables us to measure small intervals of time with very great accuracy. And I said the accuracy with which it can measure the accuracy, the reading accuracy of a stopwatch is 0.1 second. Please take notes. Please, I'm begging you to take notes. Now the unit of time is the second. and then it can be multiplied, and these are the derivatives from a second. Actually, 60 seconds make a minute, 60 minutes an hour, 24 hours makes a day. And I made you understand that the most accurate clock known for now are the quartz crystal clock and the atomic clock. Please take notes. I will utilize these two so you can actually see it. The quartz crystal clock and the atomic clock are the world's most accurate clock. And I give an assignment. You tell me which of the following is a scalar quantity. Is it momentum? Is it acceleration, displacement, distance, or force? You tell me why. Now, I also ask you another question. Is time a vector or a scalar quantity? You give reasons for your answer. Thank you and God bless you. Thanks for joining the class. Please ensure you join most of our classes. And if you are watching this video online on YouTube, please ensure you hit the subscribe button and subscribe for more videos.